5 most common site costs for Sydney builds. What are site costs? In simple terms, site costs are the costs associated with your specific lot, what you need to do to complete the construction. The 5 most common site costs that will be covered in this video are 1. Site slope. Site slope impacts design complexity. So this is how long it's going to take the architectural team or the drafting team to make sure the design works on the site slope. It will impact engineering complexity. So engineering complexity is to do with the slab and how it's been integrated with the natural slope of the site. It would also impact earthworks. Earthworks is to do with all the machinery on site, excavating and benching to make sure we have the building platform for the slab to be poured on. And the last item, site slope impacts, is your slab labor and material cost in relation to complexity. Second item is site access. Site access, this is to do with how much space the construction team has around them to place, whether it's materials being delivered to site or whether it's soil that's been excavated during the benching phase. If there isn't enough space on site, that means the team needs to work slower. We need to handle material twice, and potentially all of that combined adds to your build duration. The third item is stormwater. Basically, the very first question, or the most important question with stormwater, is does the house or the site require what's called an OSD tank? An OSD tank is an on-site stormwater detention tank. They're basically tanks that are either put above ground or below ground or open, combination of whichever works specific to that site. And that helps in easing the flow of water from the house, from your site, onto the council area. And that's what's called an on-site stormwater detention. And the fourth item are trees. Are there any trees located on your site? Where they're positioned at, and what do we need to integrate them with the design? If they are going to impact your house design or floor plan, we might need what's called an arborist consultant. Now, this depends on if the tree can be removed or it can't be removed. And let's say, for example, take that the tree can't be removed and it needs to be integrated with your design. Then we need to engage what's called an arborist consultant. And that could also lead us to what's called tree root investigation. As you can see in this footage here, we're carrying out root investigations on one of our sites at Littlefield in Sydney. The tree that you see in the images could not be removed, so therefore we needed to identify the path of the roots, and we use what's called a non-destructive investigation, and that's what you see in the footages right here. The team is using high pressure air to excavate, and then they map out the direction of the roots, and based on that direction we can then engineer the design, the slab, and everything else that's required in between to make sure the build is done correctly, as well as approvals. And the last one, which we run into a lot of sites in Sydney, are flood impact. This is the fifth item. Flood impacts, basically through approval stage, once we identify that the site is being flood impacted, what needs to happen to your slab engineering in terms of where the flood and how high and what the specific numbers are. We need to elevate it off the ground, and that's what you end up with, what's called a suspended slab above ground. There are multiple ways to carry that out. We'll show you some of our sites. As you can see here in this footage, on our site at Croydon, this was a flood impacted. Only the back half of the site, as you can see from the drone footage, that the back section was above ground, about 500 to 600 mil, compared to the front section, which was slab in ground, a raft slab. So there you have it. These are the most 5 common site costs that we run onto all our knockdown rebuilds here in Sydney. So what is it all? What is the most important for you to take here is that the identification as early as possible and making sure you capture or allow some sort of a budget or a cost for these things up front, because what that guarantees you or ensures that for your dream build is within budget, is on time, and you don't have surprises along the construction. So what I'm going to do next to help you understand some of these site costs, we're going to go to a couple of various sites that we're working on and see how these site costs would translate on the field. So hopefully that video was beneficial. Make sure to subscribe, click on the bell icon, and we'll see you on the next video.